Hey, welcome to the Foster Fathers Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Kyle.
And this is a podcast all about foster care, adoption, and fatherhood.
We hope that you feel welcome. We hope that you feel that you belong. And we're glad that you're here to share this time with us.
Let's go.
Welcome to Foster Fathers Podcast. We're doing a little warm-up here, trying to stretch out, get ready. Don't know what to do with my hands. This is... I want to...
Is this how we're rolling?
This is how we're rolling.
I'm stretching because if you're a chiropractor, please sponsor us.
I think
we're just going to put out
I think you
request
sponsorship pretty much every episode.
Yeah.
I request someone to tell me what to do with my hands.
Show them.
If you're a wedding coordinator...
Why would that be what you logically...
Well, I mean, I think it connects.
I don't think it does.
Because if you're a wedding coordinator, you're used to telling people, how to organize, all that stuff. I don't know what to do with my hands because part of me wants to be natural, but then all of a sudden, if I'm natural like this, which is the way that you're doing, then oh my gosh, Chris and I are doing the exact same thing, and then I psych myself out.
We watched this teaching the other day at work, and it talked about hands, and people think you're suspicious if you can't see them. So the fact that you show them is really the only answer, I think. So show them.
Yeah, but I am suspicious.
That's true. Your beard does that too.
Anyway, welcome to Foster Fathers Podcast. I am Kyle.
I'm Chris, and our intro says it.
Our intro also says the same thing, very redundant, but we're here, and we're talking about foster care, foster dads, and adoption, and we gotta incorporate adoption. I mean, I'm gearing up for it.
Yeah, you are.
We still got a couple months left.
I'm a seasoned veteran.
They told us that, it'd be a couple months ago, and then it's just keeps dragging out.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a classic state affair, governmental affair.
Yeah. And Chick-fil-A run the.
Seriously, how efficient are those people, dude? They're so efficient.
Chick-fil-A sponsor us.
How can they be that efficient and that kind?
Yeah, how can it be their pleasure? That's crazy.
That's not real, dude. That's not real. Anyway, dude, so thanks for joining us. We're just chatting about life and life as foster care and adoptive parents. So, Chris, we usually do a This Week in Foster Care.
Yep.
And this week in foster care for Chris is...
I don't know how to even summarize it in a title, I suppose. But this week in foster care for me was I was chatting with a longtime friend. We've known each other, man, it's got to be almost a long time. Let's just put that, maybe 20 years. I guess we're old now. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, and I was just talking to him, and they are foster parents now. And they live in my previous place of residence, San Diego, California. And he's like, I just had this moment where I stepped back and was like, we're talking about foster care. And that's cool. And he has his first placement. Really proud of you, buddy. I think he listens. Love you, dude. You know who you are. But
did you talk about this before? Was this something when you guys were, 20 years, 15 years, you guys were young 20s?
It's pretty cool.
Is that something you both knew at that?
No, we have an age gap.
Inclination?
No.
Okay.
Not like back then.
Okay.
Maybe my wife and I are dating. We've talked about those things, and we've maybe seen a little bit of that stuff. But when we had gone ahead and walked into foster care and adoption, obviously a lot of people, friends, close family and friends know this stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we've always thought about it too. And so that's when those kind of conversations come to light. And I feel like pretty early on, he's like, I think that's something my wife and I would consider one day soon. And then the day came, and he talked to me about the process of getting in there, and we talked about the differences of the states that we're in, and then he got licensing, home study, all that stuff, and then all of a sudden I get a text in the middle of the night randomly, a picture of him and a baby, and I'm like, what? And so, yeah, This Week in Foster Care is just it's cool to just, I don't know, those are my kind of people, I guess.
Yeah,
I just love the little bit of crazy.
It's the connection. There's people in your friend groups. There's people. I doubt that you guys were the convincing factor, but you're definitely a contributing factor. Knowing that other people aren't bashing it.
And that kind of goes hand in hand with the cool kind of side effects of this podcast, which sure, obviously you're doing a podcast because you feel like you're sharing something, but
I'm just here because you asked me to be here.
Yeah, it's hey, I have an idea.
And I like to talk.
Yeah, we know that. I was kidding. No, but we are starting to encourage people along on the journey. and which kind of leads us right into our topic for today.
It is a journey.
And we are getting varying degrees involved with the State Department here in our lovely corner of the country.
Chris has become a resource peer mentor.
Sure. And so one of the things that we've I am.
That's what's driven this.
Well,
this question comes from
I was in a meeting with some of the state and just offering ideas, kind of a brainstorming. How do we maybe?
What you're great at.
My grade?
No, you are great at that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you're good at that. You're good at that.
I don't like to take compliments.
You're an ideas man.
I'm an ideas guy. Yeah. And so we were talking through how would we get somebody maybe interested in foster care to cross that line, go through training. It's not a small thing to do. Like you don't get to catch someone on a random side of the street. Like, hey, would you want to be interested in doing this? Cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, are you interested in
some
30 hours of training?
Some dude the other day, catches me me and a coworker are in a parking lot. We grabbed lunch together, and we're trying to raise money for whatever X, Y, and Z nonprofit, and he's trying to catch you just on a whim. Maybe he's even trying to get you to be like, here's all the cash in my pocket. Now get out of my face. I mean, that's something you do on instantaneously.
Well intentioned potentially.
But
also
foster
annoying.
care is not foster. Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Side note. It was awful, and I kind of actually guilted him. I was like, all the money that I would donate to you is going toward raising the 4 kids that I'm adopting. And he's all, thanks for your help, man. Anyway,
did you feel really good about yourself then? You jerk.
I'm leveraging one set of kids to
Oh
protect
my
another. He was
gosh.
probably helping some kids or something. Dude. Anyways, but that's something that you can sign up for right away.
Yeah.
You can make an instant donation, whatever.
Direct deposit.
But this is foster care is not something you just slide into. Yeah. Oh crud! I didn't realize that. Well, I mean,
whoops.
They did trick us into getting 4 kids, but that's all right. That's a side question.
With your eyes wide open, let's be honest. But yeah, you're terrible. You're an easy sell for magic.
Oh, dude, I love David Blaine.
That's hilarious.
What else is orange?
I
don't know. Cheez-It?
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, sorry. Anyways, but
so
how do you get somebody into foster care?
Well, and I was just
is
trying
this
to
an
think,
elevator pitch thing?
Yeah, I mean, no, yes, I don't know. We want to be strategic. Also, I think there are some people who've thought about it, and how do you get them to cross that line is kind of where
I take the stairs.
Yeah. So I asked Kyle, like, hey, give me something like, what is something that you would say to someone who's maybe trepidatious? Wow, what a big word I just said. But like hesitant to dive into foster care. What would you say to that person? And you said something cool. What did you say? Drum roll.
You're capable of more.
You're killing this.
I said you're capable of more than you think.
Yeah, which is a cool thing. I think I would love to attach something to a saying that is capable or relatable across the board.
Yeah,
but you're capable of more than you think.
Yeah,
and that got us thinking like. Someone who maybe is a potential foster parent would be like, I could never do that.
Right. And I mean, that's the answer that we get so often. Is like, I could never give a kid back. Oh, I could never, blah, blah, blah. I could never. I mean, if I had $1 for every time I said, I heard somebody say, I could never. I mean.
You'd have $10 to $12.
I'd probably have maybe 14. I'd be able to buy our In-N-Out trip.
Are we going, dude?
Maybe. Anyways.
Let's do it.
But you're capable of more than you think. Yeah.
And so let's just dive into that a little bit, like that reality of you really are. And there are moments in which I don't know. There are moments in which you don't think you can handle it, and then you just gotta handle it.
Let me ask you that. I mean, just spitballing, but what was Chris's biggest fear getting into foster care? Because I think this connects. I mean, I think some people is that greatest fear of the vulnerability that they're going to experience of loving a kid and that kid being ripped away, right? That seems to be the common thread. But there's so many other things, and you and I came in with a different expectation. Mm-hmm. So, what was it that you were most afraid of?
That's a bad connotation potentially, but what was it going to do to my biological kid? Yeah, and one of the other side quests that the emotions you got to navigate is that foster kids are the damaged kids, and that's like so not true. But my fear going in blind, mind you, before education and experience, what am I doing to my oldest kid, my biological kid? Like, am I gonna neglect him because I've chose to take care of extra kids? And that was probably my biggest fear.
Yeah.
And like, and can my wife handle it and do it? And like, you know, I'm trying to be protective of her too. And so, not that she needs my protecting, but you know, just mindful of the family unit.
You have to be aware of that stuff. Yeah.
And so you walk into that and you go, okay. And now I would say, and I've said this before, I'm so proud of my oldest kid.
Right.
The perspective
It
he has
actually
on
turned
life.
out to be incredible for him.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, dude, you're awesome.
Yeah.
Like, what a cool kid you are.
Yeah.
And it's because
You would have never known that side of him.
Yeah, and that kind of speaks into that point where, dude, my son is capable.
He is capable
of handling this situation with us.
Yeah.
And in his own 6, almost 7-year-old way.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, that I chuckled because I clicked into. I was actually thinking about this as you were talking, and
you weren't listening.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
Dang it! I ratted myself out.
No, dude.
My thought, I mean, my brain's moving trying to figure out what was I actually scared of, but I think one of the things that we were scared of, that I was scared of, was we wanted to adopt kids. I mean, the end goal ultimately for us was adoption. Now, we got into, instead of going straight toward adoption, we got into foster care because we assumed adoption would be an end game eventually. Yeah. Yet, there was the fear in me that said, we're going to go through all of this. And at this point, and still even at that time, not knowing if we would ever have our own biological kids.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I think there was a part of me that was afraid we're going to, I'm going to go through this. I'm going to funnel through 12, 15 kids, eventually, and never end up
with like the goal.
Right.
At the onset.
Right. Yeah. And now we're at 4 kids.
But you've also reunited a few.
Yeah.
And you've also walked that journey to a circle.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, but what was the...
Like, what was, like...
Yeah, that's legitimately was a fear, but that doesn't really address our question or our statement of proving that you're capable of more than you think.
Well, I think it does.
I mean, to be honest, though, I came in probably a little cocky, a little arrogant, thinking I have a lot to give, and we're bought into the idea of foster care. So I came in blind because we thought we could. I thought that we were the prime specimens for this. So probably,
you thought you were the prime specimen?
I probably should have been more fearful. I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm being candid right now, but I should have been more caught. I should have been more fearful, you know. Yeah. And not. But I think, I don't think this was a conscious thought, but I do look at the things that we are experiencing, navigating, a second grader with reading demands, a first grader, I mean, it's a constant onslaught, and yet we continue to make it through. We continue to bond. I mean, the other day, our daughter, we're riding bikes to a place. We're going down a busy road, and she does something super erratic, and it freaked me out. And I raised my voice, and I'd struggled to give a good response, and I very easily gave a poor response. Yeah. But then, in that moment, my fear is like, dude, I'm butchering this. I am butchering this. And then you see that it actually, like, I came back, I apologized, we talked through it, me and a 7-year-old, and we're stronger for it, and so I think the fears aren't what was before. The fear is like every day I wake up with a new fear of, they're going to see I'm a fraud. I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going to be able to do this. Eventually I'm going to be found out that I'm ad-libbing, the parenting 4 kids. And yet our kids continue to grow, they continue to develop, our bonds continue to become stronger, and
I think the opposite of that, that idea you're capable of more than enough, the opposite of that and the lie that most people believe is I am not enough.
Right.
And I cannot handle it.
Right.
And that's a deep thing to
Yeah.
That's what you're experiencing. You're experiencing the fear that you are not enough for these children. I cannot handle this. And actually, I'm going to do more harm than good.
Do you think that's what a lot of people express in that statement? Oh, I could never do that, because it's such an unknown factor.
Yeah.
There's a huge unknown in doing foster care.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think that maybe people look at this situation and go, that's too big of a mountain for me to climb. But good for you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, well, we actually need a ton of people. And so that's the
kids living in hotels. Step up.
Yeah. And you know, here's the reality, at least in these conversations in which we're having about recruitment, if you will, is like, it's not necessarily about like we need anyone and everyone, but more like we need people that are willing to climb this with us.
Yeah.
And the reality is most people that are going to walk into something like this is maybe watching someone else do it.
Yeah.
And so coming in blindly off the street, well, I think the people that you happen to catch for the long term are people who've probably seen it in their world before.
Yeah.
So the lie that you're not enough, well, you have to be watching someone else struggle through it and know that, hey, they could.
I saw Kyle did. If Kyle could do it, anybody could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, genuinely, I feel that way. I feel that way most days.
Yeah, you go like, wait, you're capable of more than you know.
Yeah.
And how many people, I mean, this is like maybe I don't know how to call it this way, but like a micro or macro observation is people are just really comfortable with comfortable.
Yeah.
And they really strive to do that. And I think most people would hopefully realize that the most substance and treasure in life comes through struggle. And, you know, sure, are there moments in which you feel like, man, I cannot do this?
Yeah.
But I have no other options, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I think you were telling me a story of a dude who got pushed off a cliff and had to run or something. I don't know. What was that story?
It was a book that I read about a rock climber or mountain, rock climber, and
captive.
Yeah, he got taken captive, and anyways, like after days without food and water and having to flee from his the people who had kidnapped him, and you know his whole story of his life, you know, in his 45 years looking back was. There's so many more things that I never thought I could have done until I was pushed into that. And I mean that's the hard thing is, I mean, how do you push someone? You can't just push someone into foster care, but sympathy. You know, we are trying to extend that to people to say, hey, I mean, whatever it is that's drawing you back, reconsider. Whatever it is that you think you can't face, you know, if it's a fear, if it's a trauma, a personal trauma, if it's you know, just an unknown. I mean, there are a ton of unknowns, and you could probably do a lot more than you realize. I mean, I always assumed we would end up with multiple kids, but not multiple kids at once. You know, I mean, I changed 4 diapers in a 45-minute period. I mean, I never thought I'd be capable. I mean, that's huge.
Not even that fast, to be honest. But I think,
there's a story to that, but go ahead.
I look at the moment in which we got our little dude. Our baby was a surprise.
Yeah.
Our foster baby was a surprise.
Yeah.
That was like, hey, we're 4 hours away. This baby's born. Same mom.
Yeah.
We're like, my wife was really proud of her in this moment. We have 3 kids under 5 or 5-ish at the time. And we're like, this is a lot. And even if they're all biological, that's a lot. And you know,
yes.
Then you go, wait, dang it. Like, okay. Tracy in tears with a 3-way call, me, her, and the caseworker. Tracy, my wife goes, I mean, we have to, right? Yeah. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay. And all the other decisions about like, can we not, can we handle this? The answer is yes. Even though the answer in your brain logically sometimes can be no.
Yeah. I remember the stress. Jessica's I hope she doesn't listen to this episode.
I want to text.
I remember that. Yeah, make sure you listen in at about 20 minutes. But I mean, there was a few, early on that transition, bringing in the older two, and I mean, it was a lot for us. The emotional toll, plus the addition of two kids, plus the addition of trauma, that these kids had experienced versus the younger ones. And the younger ones, they clung to us.
Yeah.
They were younger. The older ones were kind of standoffish at first, and now we've humped over that. We've got over that hump, and I just remember a few of the nights of just both of us being in tears of like, I don't know if we, I don't know if we can do this, and we just like, do we have another
what's
choice?
The other option? Could you handle the other option?
And it's not that. I mean, and it's not that we didn't want them. I mean, the want was there, the drive was there, the hope was there, but the present reality was,
this is stinking hard.
Yeah, I've never. I all of a sudden had an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Out of nowhere, you have an 8-year-old. And we thought, I mean, and I looked at it and I thought, I had a couple moments I had to really take stock. Can we do this? Can we do this? What is driving me to continue on? Just simply, an affection and a love. And I look at it now and I kind of laugh at that point back then when, so I guess you talk about greatest fear. The greatest fear was like, are we going to implode? Is there going to come a moment when we both have a mental breakdown and we're done?
Probably
that probably was. We've had 14 of them, but not knowing if we could continue, not and being afraid of that, and looking back at us 6 months ago and thinking, oh yeah, we got this. Our son's not quite as spooked by different different behaviors. Our daughter's actually like, will take more than 2 bites. Good
work.
Our 5-year-old who as we talked about this last episode, had reverted when the older two moved in. She reverted, regressed into some of her former behaviors because there was triggers of her siblings moving in. Anyways, it was just this compilation, and we look back at it now. We're all okay. This thing passed, and
light work,
and we're doing okay. We're doing okay. I mean, is it beautiful? Is it pretty? Not yet, not yet, but it's good. Yeah. And we made it through that season that we never thought. We thought, man, is this ever going to end? Are we going to have the strength?
Yeah.
Are we going to be a family? And we're there now.
Well, and I think if you're listening to this, hopefully you are a foster parent already, and or an adoptive parent.
Actually, I hope there's some people who.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Who aren't. Who are.
What I'm getting at is
I got a couple guys out there, dude. I hope you can hear me. I'm not gonna say names, but do it.
Send it.
Do it, dude. You can do it.
Man, you threw me off. What was I gonna say?
Sorry, I don't know.
But if you're listening to this, and you are in the middle of the journey, how you can do this.
Yes.
And be encouraged in that, because you look back and you go, man, think about the moments I didn't think I could do it, and now I'm doing it. And then there's going to be another moment where you didn't think you can do it again, and then now you can do it again.
Yeah.
And so
you can't do it all at once.
Yeah. And it's staged, and we cannot say this enough as well. That's part of our heart for this is find someone to lean on.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, you can't do it alone. That's for sure. You can do it, but you can't do it alone.
I love that. That's maybe what we should call this thing. You can do it, but you can't do it alone.
Maybe that should be my tagline.
Nice. Oh, there you go.
My T-shirt tagline. You can do it, but you can't do it alone.
Love it, dude.
Bros and Brews. Come to our Bros and Brews event.
Is it ours now? You coming?
Anything you can do, I can do with you, dude.
All right. Or better. So please hear that. And also on the other side, if you are listening to this, if you are his buddies that he's referring to, and I don't know, but I'll learn your name after this. We're done recording.
You'll get a text message.
Heavily reconsider.
Yeah.
And if you are listening and you go, man, my wife is, and this is just reality in situations we're aware of, my wife is really interested, and I, as the husband, I'm just not there yet.
Yeah.
Can really reconsider.
Lean into it.
And not coerce you into a decision that you're maybe going to end up regretting later.
I don't think you'll regret it.
Yeah. That's
I
good.
don't think you'll regret it.
Yeah. And dude, and ultimately it boils down to a simple equation. The joy is better than the pain and greater than the pain.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you agree? Your kids are
Really did.
worth the pain,
Worth the pen.
worth the struggle.
And surprisingly, my head's still above water.
Barely. But it is.
Yeah.
All you need is the nose, dude.
Thanks for checking in, dudes.
Yeah, we love you guys. Peace.